we'll start the webinar off. I'll pass things over to Brad. I know I'm going to kind of be putting you on the spot. Brad will just do a high level view of the value from being a practitioner and also switching hats now to working for an association, the viewpoint of and the benefits of doing logs and why we need to do it. We'll go through what the platform is, what it looks like, the new modules, the new components to this module that we have available. Then we'll include Marty and Steve to chat about from their respective OEMs why this is helpful and how Sub-Zero can bridge the gap for various respective inspections or checks and logs that need to be done. Then we have a really cool announcement. That's why we brought Mark here, and he's staying up a few hours later with him being overseas in the UK. And then if we have some time at the end and you folks want to see some of our existing modules like the ice depth checks, the flood logs, the water quality, we'll put some time aside for that. But we've got a good batch of individuals already registered, which is great to see. So we'll kick things off and we'll proceed. Thank you everyone for joining. This is going to be about an hour-long webinar, give or take. Really excited to have a number of, as everyone always says, industry leaders around, but we genuinely feel that way with a good variety from both OEMs to practitioners and associations here. If you have questions, feel free to put it in the box. We'll try to address it either while we go through the presentation or at the end. This is free-flowing dialogue. So again, from any of the panelists, if you want to just jump in and want to add a point to maybe something that was maybe missed, feel free to stop me or stop each other. We can have an open conversation about it. This is all going to be recorded, so we'll have a recording available. And if afterwards there's a brief little survey just to get your thoughts, and if you'd like a follow-up, feel free to fill that in, and we'll be in good order. So I'll move things along. Let me click the next. Awesome. So Brad, can we pass things over to you? Just want to give a quick overview as to who you are, who you represent, and your viewpoint on the value and the importance of proper maintenance of ice resurfacers.
Yeah, certainly. And thanks, Jack, for including me here today. And was happy to just attend, but always happy to partner with our and others on this call, and certainly promoting the benefits of maintenance and daily checks, and that best practice is what it does for both machine efficiency and reliability, as part of a strong asset management plan with your equipment. And we certainly see things like this tool and digital as exciting new steps forward for our members and others that use RFM and the suite of modules that are with it. And certainly appreciate the efforts of Zach and the Marmac team and all the manufacturers in the efforts to again promote the best practice of doing these inspections and recording them, and having those as very valuable data for both day-to-day operations and again asset management planning and capital forecasting. So I don't want to take the time from others here. Also happy to answer questions at any point in time throughout the conversation where I can provide value, but otherwise just thanks for the opportunity, and enjoy the presentation here today from Zach and others. I'll turn it over to the experts.
Thank you very much, Brad. Much appreciated. So as Brad alluded to, these are all crucial things that need to be done. Sometimes we struggle, especially depending on where our rink is located, access to some of these documents or access to staff that have experience in training them. The value of this tool, Sub-Zero, or any existing platform you might use, or just doing these checks in general, is to help new ones that are in the industry so that they can all be on the same page when it comes to training of how to maintain these machines, and that it's in line with best practices suggested by your OEM, which then will help with decision making and operating, and obviously safety of the machines and the operators using them. Let me go to the next slide here. And that's exactly what we want to do. Help sharpen the maintenance skills and familiarity with your machines. So we've got 3 key OEMs that we're working with to build the Sub-Zero module, Engo, Olympia, Zamboni. regardless if your machine is brand new or 10 years old or 15 years old or which model it is, we've tried to build something that is very simple, but also standardized that can work across these machines. Uh, if you have a platform like Zamboni Connect, perfect, phenomenal, keep using it. If you don't have it, if your machine isn't capable, and if you're just doing it on paper, you're not doing it at all, this is a good intermediary step to start to document and log these routine checks. And we'll chat a bit about that later, and Marty will dive into that a little bit more. So, what does this module include? Your daily circle checklist, 5 to 10 key items of what need to be done, that routine check that you do walking around your machine for each and every shift, a weekly or monthly detailed checklist, which will show that is pretty exciting with some of the features included in it. Grease point checklist, daily, weekly, monthly, annual, a dashboard that shows the results of all those checks. Again, we'll get into that. A maintenance PM scheduler, which is really awesome. And the last one is QR code access to all the information on this machine. We can see right now online, if you go to some of the discussion boards or Facebook group chats, people say, hey, I've recently purchased this machine. I believe it used to be at this organization, or we don't know where it's from. Does anyone have the maintenance records or the history or checks on it? We're trying to find some documentation on it. By having it documented digitally and having access to this information can help pass it on as some of these machines move throughout their lifespan, and obviously internally with staff turnover, to have that documentation easily accessible and centralized. So here's just a quick view of how this lines up. For any of you that are existing Sub-Zero users or new ones, this is just another module that will be available. So you'll have your blood logs, your ice step checks. Now you'll have your ice resurfacer with all these key components, water quality checks, plant readings, training, what's new, RFAM, everything that can be accessed on a phone, a tablet, a computer. It's just a web app that you log into. You don't need to host anything on your servers, and you can access it right away. So let's start with a daily circle check. This is exactly what it is. So we upload your machines, we put in the make, the model, the serial number, and we have the 5 to 10 key items of what you check. You can go up, pass, fail, not applicable, add any comments, upload a picture, press submit, and that saves it and stores it. You can see who the operator was that did it, and hopefully do this on a daily basis for all of your machines. This component we're making available at no cost. So any organization that wants to log in, create an account, and do a daily circle check on all of their machines, no commitment, no cost. You can start using this platform tomorrow and track all of this information. As you can see, we also have here comments to make sure that your staff know exactly what they're looking for beyond just pass, fail, or checkbox, checkbox, checkbox to help with that training aspect. And it'll continue to grow with new features as well. So here's a nice little quote. Alex, if you don't mind taking a second here, and can you chat a little bit about your experience using it over the last week or two since we gave you some early access to it? And maybe a little bit as to who you are, where you're from.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me all right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're good to go.
Perfect. Hi there, I'm Alexander Coffey. I work at Colorado College at Robeson Arena. We're a newer arena, got one sheet of ice. Yeah, so diving into this whole thing, personally, I'm kind of new to this industry, 4 years maybe, and not a mechanic in the slightest. I'm not a big, like, oh, let's fix a machine and let's grease everything every day. So the ability to have all of this in one spot, just looking on the iPad, going through a list, checking things off is just huge for me. I don't have to scramble and look everywhere. Having a quick little detail of what I need to find is huge. I've been asking my staff every time that they have a shift to just do one of the simplified circle checks just to help them kind of learn what to look for, train, hey, what's wrong? Is there anything like standing out that is wrong with our resurfacers? And just the ability to log it has been huge for us. So I think it's been awesome just to have it all in one spot, and the simplicity of just scrolling through and like, okay, that's good to go, good to go. Oh, maybe the blade looks a little dull or it's not cutting right. So it's been a game changer for sure.
Thanks, Alex. Do you want to take a quick second and talk about the ability to have the comments as well and see what previous comments were from the previous log done the day before and how that can be helpful?
Correct. Yeah. So I'd say one thing as well, like you mentioned, the comments. let's say someone is newer to this or has more experience, they're able to say like, hey, this looks a little bit off. And let's say they're not the ones that are working on the ZAM like I am or my maintenance crew. Those comments are for us to see and be like, okay, there's something wrong with our dump tank, the bucket. So that gives us something to go and look at, and they're able to describe what they think is wrong. And then we go and double check it and dive in on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Alex. Since I have you and you're already here, do you just want to take another 30 seconds and share your use of the rest of the platform, from the flood logs to the ice step checks, and your experience with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say kind of very similar just to the whole surface or to the circle check is just the ability to have everything in one spot. I don't have to have people go wander around too far, like with different sheets of paper. It's all on the iPad. It's all there. They can walk in the compressor room. They can go check the ice. They can check the air temp. And all that stuff is coming, like you have mentioned before. And just the simplicity, just like here, plug it into the iPad. And I would say the biggest thing for me is it is all on my computer right here. So every day I come in, I check, hey, what happened the night before? How much were my people cutting? Do I need to build today? And just the ability to have everything in one spot is just huge for me to be able to look at, and just for them, for the simplicity of use.
Yeah, that's tremendous. Thank you, Alex. If anyone has any questions, feel free to write them in the chat, especially if they're directed to Alex regarding his experience using it or what he's felt. He'll definitely be able to answer those. Thanks, Alex.
Yep.
So here's a quick screenshot of kind of what Alex was chatting about or discussing. So you can have that daily circle checklist. You go through, do all of your items. If you have multiple machines, you can pull them all up on one dashboard, put it up on a TV, and see those three machines, see the last date that it was done. So if it's green, perfect, it's been done recently. If it's turning orange, it's been a few days. If it's red, you should really look at doing that check again. What's passed, what's failed, the hours, the comments you can see are hidden behind the phone, who the operator was. And these drop downs will show all of that detailed information, all the comments. There's an example right there of what passed and what failed, pictures that were uploaded. You have this right there on your computer. If you have a TV in your office or in your Resurfacer bay, you can track all of your machines in one simple key spot, and just ensure that everything's being taken care of, from your daily checks to your detailed ones, your grease points, and any required maintenance. So if you have your phone and if you want to sign up for that free daily circle checklist, even just to get access and play around, feel free to scan this QR code. I will show it again later on. And in the survey, you can request to be set up. But if you want to get access to that, feel free to get your phone, scan it. It'll take you to the form that you can fill in your information, put in your machine and your details, and that will get you all set up and ready to go for that free daily circle checklist component. I'll give you about another 5 seconds or so if you're looking for your phone, you're pulling up your camera, but that'll give you access to everything you need for those daily checks. Now we've got the detailed checks. So for each of your machines, whether you have Zamboni, Olympia, Engo, potentially maybe another manufacturer in the future, you have your custom images for what you're looking for. You're going to have your detailed for each and every side of the machine, and you're going to have the specific points. So then you can see it, you can reference it, pass, fail. There's the comments for what you're looking for. This is just a demo right now from what you can see. And as you work your way around the machine, it has all of the necessary points. And with Alex's help, we've also been able to add images as well. So then if we're not just going and passing it, we can see, okay, what's the board brush? What's the hydraulics? What's the squeegee? Where's the fire extinguisher? The spark plugs? All of those components will have associated pictures, which I can show later on to help with new staff or operators to pull up this information. Potentially links to videos as well. But again, this just makes it a lot more detailed than a generic checklist or a simple form or an Excel file or a Google sheet that gets filled out and gives more value to your operator and improves the accuracy of these checks they're going to do on that routine basis. So here's an example of that picture. So we have an icon next to each item or most of the items. You click on it. Here's just a demo, just one of the pictures that we have. You click on it, pulls the pop-ups, you know exactly what you're looking for and exactly what you're looking at for each and every spot. Again, this is just a sample, but just to show you what you'd be looking at and how it would work for you. Once that's done, we showed you an example before, but here will be all of your readings. So you'll be able to see each major component. So it's broken into the cabin, conditioner, the driver's side, the front, the engine, the non-driver side, and the rear. And there's all of your checks. So green means it's fully done. Orange, maybe not applicable. Red is what it failed. This is just a demo we put together. Click a drop down, and now you can see all those components. Some organizations that we work with, especially in the States and in Canada as well, you have multiple facilities, multiple machines at all of these facilities, and you might not get to travel to all these buildings. It might be a bit of a drive, or you have a busy schedule. How do you keep on top of the maintenance and what's going on and what's failed, what needs to be ordered, what needs to be checked? You can now log in and see all of your machines in your fleet and track the status. When was the last check done? Does the blade need to be replaced? What's going on with the towel? And track all this before something gets too serious and you need to spend X amount of dollars to replace the entire conditioner. Track the images, train your staff, have it all in one spot. Whether you have one machine or a fleet, just as valuable to help you track all of it. And I know Marty and Steve and others will chat about in the future, or as this webinar continues on, the ability to have these notes and passing it on to other operators that are on during the next shift is crucial and extremely helpful. We're getting close to the end here, so we've got instant access. This is something we're really excited about. You'll be able to put a Sub-Zero QR code on your machine, scan the QR code, log in, and it'll pull up all these checks. But you'll be able to compare and see, okay, green means a check was done within that reasonable time period, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly. Orange, it's coming due or it just passed due. Red is it's well past due. So you can go, if you've got 2 or 3 machines, scan it, pull it up, see the checks, make sure that if it's all green, perfect, go to the next one, and just a very clear visual while you're standing right in front of it to ensure that all the maintenance is done and staff or operators are keeping up to date on these checks on all of your machines. And if it's not done, if it's red, you click on it, fill it in right there to just make sure that everything's all taken care of. You don't have to walk over to the book to check to see which machine, was it done. Everything accessible on your phone or on a tablet. The last component that we're going to have here is maintenance schedule. We have a rink down in the States. They've got 6 sheets under one roof in California. They've got 10 or 12 ice resurfacers, and they have a whiteboard that has this same layout. So it's got their machines and it's got all the key activities. So this will be a grid that if you have multiple machines, staff will just go in and say, when was the date that the blade was changed or the auger was greased or the towel was cleaned? What's the next target date? So maybe in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, when do we want to do it again? Who was it? Any notes or comments? And now you'll have a lovely grid for all of your machines that you can keep up to date. It'll be color coded for you that you can see what are the next activities for each machine. It might be different activities for different machines based on how they're used and how they're operated, but you can have it all and you can clearly see the important tasks that need to be done for your fleet upcoming over the next day or two, regardless of who it is, where this machine's located, and have it all in one key and simple spot. So first Sub-Zero for the ice resurfacer module, we're going to have an early bird option for you folks if you're interested. You're looking at, people are always going to ask, what's the cost? What's the cost? To have access to all those components and ones that are coming up for the ice resurfacer for your first machine, $20 a month. For every additional machine, $10 a month. If you've got questions, comments, feel free to email us, feel free to ask, but that's for all of the bells and whistles of everything you're looking for. Yeah, we're really excited about where this is going and with the support of these OEMs, and we'll pass things over to them into a minute to describe and explain the value of doing this for your machines and converting from paper to doing these digital logs. So I'll pass things over first off to Marty. Can we get you here? And I think Chris also has joined now as well. I'll invite Chris. Maybe want to share a little bit as to what we've been working on over the last few weeks, why we've done it, the value of it. I'd love to pass it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. the biggest thing that I see a benefit with this whole platform is to inspect what you expect from management all the way down to the operators. This tool is allowing the operators to be aware of what's going on with the machine, especially in the morning starts, to make sure if anything is going south, to be able to communicate it to the proper authorities within the organization, whether it be a lead hand or a manager, and actually bite it in the tail, if you will, lack of a better term, before it gets too out of control and becomes too costly. The capital expenditure of municipalities purchasing these machines, whatever ice resurfacer they choose, is a big investment. And if we react instead of become proactive, which I believe this tool certainly is, along with the other tools that Zamboni offers, um, the longevity and life cycle of that machine is more cost comprehensive in the sense of you're on top of it. You're not expecting, and sometimes you do, but some things can go south quickly, but at least you're managing accordingly. And you have a tool to work with that allows you to communicate amongst your staff and management to be able to deliver the quality machine that you purchased and also deliver the best product to your user groups, that being the ice. So definitely a great tool to work with, and entailing what it entails. It is a snapshot, but it definitely will give everyone a clear picture of what's going on with their IRs. Yeah.
Thank you, Marty. And Chris, will pass things over to you in a sec. From us, our perspective is for your machines, if you have Zamboni Connect, phenomenal. Keep using it. We got inundated with users saying, hey, we do our ice step checks, we do our flood logs, we're starting to do our plant readings. Our ice resurfacer circle checks we still do on paper. We need it to be digital so we can put it all into one platform. So if you already have it in Zamboni Connect, perfect, keep going. You don't need to switch over and use this platform here. But this is just another tool that you can evaluate to see if this will help improve your operations. Is that fair to say, Marty?
Yeah, definitely. Because our circle check that we have presently is just it's an electronic form. It doesn't walk you through. It does form wise walk you through the steps, and everything is labeled along with numerical to follow those steps that need to be done in a circle check. But this is allowing you now to log everything that you're doing, which is an added enhancement to what we offer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Marty. Chris, you're here. Do you want to add anything from a Zamboni perspective?
There's really not much more I can add. Marty covered off pretty much the importance of why we do what we do with our pieces of equipment. Capturing it all in one location is always nice. It's very handy. We are in a digital world, have been for quite some time, but it's nice to see that we're actually getting caught up. We are 2025 now. And, with the transition, with a lot of turnover in facilities, you still have something like this that's that digital footprint that is always housed for a long time. Paper is great, had its time, but I think it's time to move forward. But I can't add anything more because of the importance of, making sure your equipment is up to speed. A lot of these municipalities have to report back all the way up to their managers, general managers, directors, counselors as to what's going on. Last thing you need is your equipment breaking down. Last thing you need is having to ask for another $1, $2, $5, $10,000 because of lack of something you didn't do. So that's all I really add to complement what Marty had said. So
that's perfect. Thank you, Chris. I also like to include Steve in the discussion here. Steve's been a tremendous help. We have a number of Olympia users, and they want to have the exact same components to be able to do the same checks detailed for Olympia with the same pictures, the same layout. So Steve's helped us to be able to put that together. Steve, and we've been working on this for actually a few years in our RFAM platform to have just a generic checklist that, again, you just pass, fail, pass, fail. This is the next iteration of it with the pictures, the layouts, and a number of other components tied in for your ice management. Steve, do you have a minute or two?
Yeah, thanks, Zach. I mean, I really obviously can't add much more than Marty and Chris have already explained because from our perspective, it's the same thing. I mean, the whole goal in this is to hopefully make a task that sometimes is not looked upon as being all that exciting or glamorous and making it such that it can be done effectively to communicate issues, to deal with those issues as quickly as possible before they become more expensive. So in that sense, I think it's probably a real winner. But I would also say, Zach, that I've been around in this industry now for almost 18 years, not a huge amount of time, but long enough to probably see what I think is the reality of it. And that's a real change in the demographic of those that are employed in the industry, in the sense that I see a transition to a lot younger staff. And the reality is, my grandkids probably who are my grandson's 12 and has no interest in writing anything on a piece of paper, but hand him an iPad and he's a whiz. I would suggest that extends to our industry very much so, in the sense that people are more comfortable doing it this way, not the way a 61-year-old like myself would want to do it on a piece of paper, because that's what we did all our lives. So I think it's high time that this has come to the industry. And I mean, from Olympia Resurface perspective, we're entirely supportive of it. And I can't thank you enough for really pulling together something that I think will be a benefit to all of us. One thing that does strike me is the potential for, and Marty, you can comment on this, Chris as well, perhaps, but when there are issues, sometimes from our perspective, it's getting the detail on what that issue was. It's not always the easiest. And perhaps with this tool, where there's a repository of pictures, pictures tell 1,000 words, that could be very helpful from our perspective, in terms of trying to help our clients and get them back up and back up to the proper state of operation of the machine. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words, Stephen. Couldn't agree more. We've heard some really cool experiences where individuals start using this platform. Let's say the ice step check is an example, and they're worried because they say, you know what, with other platforms or CMMS or inventory inspections, work orders, we can't seem to get our staff to buy in and start using it and switch over. With Sub-Zero, we haven't had that experience. We could list off a number of examples where they take their tablet, they take the caliper, the drill, they go out and do it. And once the first time they get that feedback of there's my readings, there's the scores, there's the average, the variance, and they start to like the digital approach, it seems to become second nature almost instantly. One example here in Ontario, a 4-pad facility, it was the manager going out and started to do it. He took one of the operators part-time with him to do it once or twice. And the operator went and said, hey, I really like this. Can this be my job to go out and do the ice steps once or twice a week on the tablet and the caliper? It's pretty cool, and I enjoy doing it. So then that took more work off the manager's plate, and he was able to pass it off to somebody who would be dedicated and fill that in. And now you start to have all of that information. That same building, they were worried, will they use this platform? Will they do it? The flood logs, which has been out for about a month and a half, maybe, on those 4 pads, they've done over 1,600 flood logs in the system, and they still don't even have all of their operators logged in and using it. But that's just to show you, if we make it easy and if we make it simple, there will be that adoption. You need 2 things. You need minimum barriers to entry, so it's got to be simple and easy to use, and you need a product champion. If you have that, that makes these tools so much easier to adopt and gives you that power and that data, which Alex can attest to. That's the platform. That's what we've got here. We've got one more really special and exciting announcement. That's why we've got this lovely gentleman, Mark, here from the UK. Mark, do you want to unmute and share a little bit as to our meeting a couple of months ago, where we were, what we did, and kind of the success we've had in, 3 weeks?
Yeah, no, thanks for Zach for that. I've been speaking to Zach for a little while now, and Zach was traveling through London, and I was able to sit down and meet with his family. Being an ex-operator and owner of facilities myself, and now heading up the Marshalls International brand in the UK, which has been going for some 40 years. This software certainly fits in with, as Steve alluded to, the changing of the guard within our industry, the younger demographic coming in, and getting them to engage in how to use the software, and the importance of energy use and the depth of ice and the thickness of ice and so on and so on. We had our first caliper a couple of weeks ago. We've got the biggest ice rink operator in Europe on board using it. I dropped into the rink with them to show them the first bit. The main maintenance guy there was crumbling because he said we've only got 10 minutes. I think it took us about 8 minutes to do 37 points. Literally blew his mind. Then this week I was up in Glasgow again. Nobody in the rink really knows much about ice. We've discussed the points. I've left them with a caliper. Again, they've done their first step checks, and it's kind of blew their mind as well. We are initially a Olympia distributor in the UK and some parts of Europe and further afield in the UAE. One of the things that we will do is with every new machine we sell, we'll offer the package for 2 years. With every used machine we sell, we'll offer it for a year. And we want to take it a step further with Zach and the team on the maintenance side, in the fact that Ian Williams, our chief engineer that goes around and services the machines in the UK and France, and sometimes in the UAE, we would like to use the barcode end of it so that when he's on site and he's doing all his service parts and his oil changes and filter changes and everything else, that he's actually logging in and submitting that paperwork back, or digital paperwork back to ourselves. So we have a full catalogue of what happens with these machines when we go out to service them. One of the things in the UK is we're very, very health and safety heavy. And a lot of the rinks are scrutinised for health and safety. And if we can give access very quickly to where the issues are with the machine or what's being done to the machine, whether it be the manager in the rink or environmental health officer coming in and wanting to inspect the paperwork, and if that's all digital, that is a massive plus on this side of the water. So there's no downside. I think our market is slightly different in the UK in terms of how the rinks are used. We have 70% maybe public skating, and the rest is a mix between hockey and figure skating. So the patterns in our rinks are slightly different in terms of how the rinks get used. But again, we're early days with Zach and the guys, and we're just working away from what fits our market, and the other markets that we deal with, we're actively talking to them about what's best for them.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. That's awesome. And one thing I want to add that I think was really cool and especially unique for Europe, on your rink layouts, you guys have identified where your barrier entrances are, your dasher board gates entrances are. Do you want to chat a minute about that, Mark, and how it ties to public skating?
Yeah, so one of the things the guys here is, if you haven't got the experience, obviously, we might have 5 or 6 gateways open, and you could have 500 or 600 people skating 2 hours before a hockey game. All those people are getting off the ice at different places. Them areas become quite thin. So they're particular areas that need building up. So again, as I say, we've had to work through it with Zach of what's needed for our market. So when the guys are out there, actually doing depth checks, they understand the areas that they need to plug into and, you know, get the right depth and see whether it needs building up, or if it's a corner, see where it needs cutting down, which, you know, everybody has that issue. But we've had horrific problems here where I went into a rink not so long ago and there's 18 inches of ice in the corner. And that gives you a perspective of some of the things that we're dealing with here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really exciting on our side to see a platform like this that started off working with a 20,000 seat arena here in Canada, and them saying, hey, can we build a quick little form for people to fill in? And in less than a year and a half, maybe 2 years, having this be adopted by rinks overseas, and us being able to log in and see, hey, look, here's a rink in Scotland that just, we've never met them, no idea who they are, maybe spoke over email once, they've already done, 2 or 3 ice step checks, and there's their readings. Here we do inches, there they have it in millimeters, but it's all stored, it's all documented. For us, that's phenomenal stuff. That is success we never would have been able to expect or anticipate. So let's move on here. Oh, we've got a question here. My apologies, I missed that. Is there any section or ability to add a section for the fast ice inspection? Marty, do you want to chat a little bit about what that fast ice inspection is, what that looks like?
Yeah. So was that Matt Sanders that sent that question in? I think it was Matt. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, great question, Matt. So in Zamboni bootcamp training, the operators are trained how to prime the system, check all their nozzles, make sure they're spraying appropriately, how to deal with that issue if they're not. Also to take a look at the electric pump and anything else that's to do with the actual functionality of the fast ice system. So Matt's question is certainly valid. If there was a section available in your platform, Zach, when it comes to fast ice, as far as top boom, bottom boom, all the nozzles, are they spraying properly? Is the board sprayer spraying properly? Do we have proper GP, gallons per minute, PSI, all those type of things that are part of the benefits and features of fast ice, that if that was something that could be a tracked on your platform, as Matt is asking for, that certainly would be very valuable to your user group.
Yeah, and Marty and Matt, that's exactly what we want to do with Zamboni's support and with obviously each OEM for their respective customizations, because this tool started off just doing ice step checks and we didn't know what are you putting in. So we had inch and a quarter, inch and a half, inch and three quarters, 2 inches. That was 4 drop down options. And it was just a generic rink diagram. How it's developed over the last 2 years, having a fast ice inspection or check is just another component. And by getting rinks to start using this platform, we're able to get their feedback to then continue to enhance and build so it fits the needs of ice rink operators. Alex can attest to it. Just before the meeting, I sent him a screenshot of something we'll see in a minute here and said, hey, is this practical for how you would use it, what you'd need to collect before we just build and put something else out there? Marty, since we're talking about new features here, can you share a little bit about the floor variants as well?
Yeah, whether you have any sort of two-dimensional machine control, being level ice or whatever other IR, and what they offer to you, one of the important features of that system that you need to make sure you have done, if you haven't already, and as we are coming into the end of the season and coming into the time of the year where ice is being taken out, I strongly recommend the users that are on this podcast webinar right now, if it hasn't been done, highly recommend your management get your subfloor surveyed, specifically cement, because your subfloors can move, especially if you don't have in-floor heating. But on top of that, from an ice depth checkpoint, you have 29 spots that we are checking, whether it be weekly, bi-weekly, every 2 weeks, whatever the case may be, is to identify, is there a difference in variance as far as height of those 29 points? Because for an operator to go out with a digital caliper and do the depth checks, and based on what they're reading, and they know that their ice is thick there, but do they know the variance from the high spot of their subfloor to the lowest spot of their subfloor, which could be half an inch? So I'll take it a step further for those customers out there that have the 1, 2, 3, 4 level ice or whatever else is out there. For those that have those tools, if you don't know your 29 points of your subfloor and the variance from high to low, due to the fact of benchmarking, then it's going to really skew up the numbers for you when you go out to do your actual depth checks with the caliper because of the variance. So again, I can't stress enough, if you have, whether you have a tool like that or you don't, you need to understand where your subfloor is at, so that if there are changes, especially, and I speak of Ontario arenas in the 70s that were built without in-floor heating, and they're still the original floors. If your floor is moving every couple of years because of frost and things like that are occurring, you need to deal with that. You need to inspect it and understand what's going on. And do I need to adapt to that capital expenditure? That could be a floor. Who knows? But at least you're aware of what those positions are if you have the subfloor surveyed. Yeah.
Thank you, Marty. And that's definitely something we plan to have hopefully available this summer, where it takes the same technology of your ice steps, but allows you to do that for your floor variants, and working with these folks on the Zoom call today to make that available. We got one more question that I want to get to before I share anything else. Is this system available in other languages, such as German? So what's really cool about this is a lot of it is just numbers. Very few items are words, so to translate it is not a lot of work. Again, with your help and support, if you folks are interested in using this platform, let's say Alex, yourself, in German, if you want to reach out to us and say, hey, I'll help you and I'll say, you give me a list of all the words and I'll translate it so it makes sense in German beyond just Google Translate. That's something that we can plug in and have the version available in German for you. And that would be tremendous opportunity again as this platform continues to grow. So let me quickly show you what we've got that's going to be next that we'll announce in a few months as well. This was just a demo was made available by our staff today. So I said, let's do a quick screen recording and share it with these folks that have put some time aside to be with us today. Compressor logs. So compressor logs, plant readings, a detailed and a simplified. What's awesome is getting to work with different types of rinks. You'll see right here, your facility, your ice plant. Some facilities, very few, have multiple plants under the same roof, servicing different rinks. So we'll be able to have that plugged in here beyond just a generic piece of paper that you'll fill in. The operator can select who they are unless they're logged in, and you can select your compressor. We'll have a form that'll fill in to know how many compressors you have, how many warm floor pumps. Do you want to collect the outside temperature, the inside temperature? And that'll customize it for you. So you're not going to see 6 compressors if you only have 3 on this one on plant 1 and 4 on plant 2 as an example. And it's simple to just pull this up on a phone, have the numeric keyboard. This is just random stuff that we're filling in. As many drop downs as possible to make it simple. But now, not now, but in the next few weeks, you'll be able to do your compressor log right on a phone or on a tablet and fill in this key information. And again, as these folks on this call can attest to, now you can compare your compressor logs, your plant readings to your cuts, how many cuts you're doing per day, to your ice thickness, to your ice resurfacer, and have all that data in one spot that can talk to each other with some really, really powerful reports. It's awesome to see I'm getting a few emails of people that are signing up actually for the ice resurfacer free component, which is awesome. Let's move on. If there's questions, again, feel free to ask. If any of the panelists want to jump in, feel free. So these are the components that's available. In case this is your first time hearing about Sub-Zero, ice depth checks, flood cut logs, plant readings, now your ice resurfacer logs, and trends and analytics as well. The one more that I forgot to add there is a water quality test. So this is available with Jet Ice, a little water quality tester that'll take readings of your pH, your TDS, your water temperature, your salinity, conductivity from your flood water. And then we can start to compare and do analytics on the sort of water that you're using. That brings us to the end. We got about 15 minutes left. So for those of you that want to visit the site, fill out the survey. If you've got to leave, you got stuff to do, that's completely fine. For the last 15 minutes, if anyone's interested, I can actually log in and show you how it works and show you some demos and do the ice step check. Okay. Perfect. So thank you, everybody. I will share my screen and we will go through a quick little demo of just the entire platform to show you how it works for those that are able to stick around. Any panelists want to add anything, any questions, comments before we proceed to a quick little live demo? Okay, awesome. So let me share my screen here. I'll just make this full screen. So this is the platform. It's on a hosted site. You don't have to worry about putting anything on your servers. You just log in. Everyone can be given a unique login. And let me see who I have. Let's start with just the demo area. So I don't have to memorize passwords and stuff. I can go into the back end and just change and make updates or switch the area that I'm in. I'm going to start in the Marmac area. So this is our demo. So if I log in, there we go. This page here will have all widgets and trends for you. We'll start with the ice step check for those that want to see that first. If you have one sheet of ice, you're ready to go. If you've got multiple buildings, you pick which building, you pick which sheet of ice, press start. There you go. You have your custom layout, your custom layer. You have your 29 points. If I turn this on here, here's my Bluetooth caliper. You have to connect it once, switch it to inches, turn on the Bluetooth function by holding the button here on the side. Sorry. Then it connects automatically. You see, there's your Wi-Fi signal. It goes solid, means you're connected. You can pull this up on a phone or a tablet, click the first point, put the caliper in the ice, no hands, no nothing, press the button on the side. There you go. and you can see the reading right on the rink. So you don't have to go back and make sure, okay, what was the reading? What was it? And you can just go and do your entire sheet of ice and go point by point by point. You could leave this at the player's bench. There's an audible ping that goes, so that then you can be on the other side of the rink. And if you hear that, you know that the point's stored. You could skip points if you want. I'll just skip a few here. There we go. Once you're done, you press complete, saves, stores it to the cloud. You did your ice step check. It's that simple. Your max, your min, your average, your variance right there for you. You don't have to read messy handwriting. You can export a PDF, share it with whoever needs it, and then pull up all of your results. So you can go by rink, pull it up. There's the one we did just now. There's a bunch of demo ones we've done. You can pull them all up, date and time, saved, stored, press submit. There it is. Your thickest point will be a little bit darker. Your thinnest point will be a little bit thinner. We don't have all these colors. We can add them if you want, but you can see it right there. Who did it and all those values all in one spot. If you have multiple rinks, it's all taken care of. Oh, we've got a whole bunch of questions here. Let's see. Can you customize location of points? Great question. We've had that asked a lot. So we've got a number of options. So we've got 6 points for your outdoor rinks or your studio rinks. 29 points is the standard for a community rink. 37 if you want to do a little bit more. 52 if you want to cover all the entire rink. We are looking into if you have 2 or 3 spots that you want to add a unique point potentially. We try to have these standards. We do have these standards. So then we can go out and say, okay, what's the average goal crease? What's the average center ice? If everyone's points are all different, then it just becomes the Wild West. And we want to try to have some sort of standardization. But if there are 1 or 2 points for each area, we can look into adding additional ones as well. Hope that answers your question, Travis. All that gets saved and stored. Flood cut logs, you can pull this up on a phone or on a tablet. Alex can attest to if you've got a single sheet of ice, it pre-populates it all for you. You can maybe you want to switch which resurfacer it is, who the operator is, what's the previous program. It's all drop downs. The flood time automatically filled in, subtracts about 10 minutes. So you can do it the second you get off the machine. Depth of cut, if you're familiar with that reading, or if you have some analytics or components that'll give you those readings from your ice resurfacer. How much snow, how much water, what type of flood, fill in the details, press submit, and I'll fill it in now just for kicks. Submission successful. You did one in 15 seconds without having to go over to a book. And you'll have all those readings here on a lovely grid. Again, you can throw it up on a TV. You can change fields, move stuff, do whatever you want. But now you have a list of all of your cuts in one spot digitally. If you are a member of ORFA, you get this module available at no cost. If you'd like to have access and demo it, feel free to send us an email and we'd love to give you an opportunity to try it out. We did the ice step checks, we did that. Let's show you the ice resurfacer circle checklist. So simplified, this is exactly what we spoke of, again, on a phone, picking what your machine is, the operator, and just pass, fail, doing all the components. You read it, you walk around. You can add the hours in here. Add any comments, upload a picture if you want right from your phone, press submit, saves it, stores it, done. Now you have your 3 machines, or if you've got a fleet of 20 machines, you can go by each and every single one and see when was the last check done. Any comments? We have one organization that said we're allowed to share their data. Their guys are putting in some phenomenal comments, including what position the adjusting the blade was at for the last shift that was done. So they know for the next individual, they noticed some leaking of their gas line or their hydraulics. So they put that in, they've added pictures, and now they're starting to document it and make those changes or those fixes that need to be done a lot faster and a lot quicker. This is just demo data, but you can see here, there's all the items, there's the comments. You could be sitting at your desk and track all of your machines across all of your facilities in one spot. And obviously you'll see here, this one, John Zamboni, 23 days ago was the last time it was checked. Hey, log in, go ahead and do it. The detailed is one we're really excited about. So as Marty spoke of, this is your health and safety before you enter the room. Make sure the door handle, do a smell test, make sure the machine's turned off, check the ventilation, make sure there's no liquids or fluids underneath, and then you go around. So we've added Zamboni. We're adding Olympia next, and we're going to be adding Engo as well once we get their images for their machines. All the points will be listed here, and you just go side by side on the machine. So there you go. And here's some cool pictures. So you click on it. There's the picture of what you're looking for. So for new operators, that as opposed to just filling stuff in and guessing, they can see those pictures on a phone. This will be locked to the top there, and you can scroll down and fill in all the items beneath it and work around the entire machine. There's those pictures of what you're going to be looking for, exactly for what you'll need. And you just go all the way around and have it for what you need. Again, this will continue to be updated, but this is the components of what you'll have access to help with your operators and help with your routine checks. Side by side by side, add pictures, add notes, fill in who did it. And let's see, detailed results. And then have all of them listed here. All the components, how much is passed. This is just a demo we haven't made available to anybody yet. And see all those components. Again, across all of your machines in one central spot that you can log in and access it and make sure everything's all taken care of. The ice plant, I showed you the compressor logs, the water quality check, filling in your pH, your TDS, your hardness, your temperature. Our goal is to give you everything you need in one spot so you can pull it up on your phone and do the routine checks. And this just helps elevate the industry, brings all operators on a new page, on the same page. We've got operators working at new buildings. So one will move from Boston down to California, from California to, let's say, Nevada, and they have experience using this platform within the last 2 years at different buildings. They move into a new building and they say, hey, I use this one at my old facility. I know exactly what I need to do and how to take over and how to start using this tool, which is really awesome. You don't have to train them. They're already familiar with it. They just get their new login. And as ORFA Terry will say, it's like putting on a pair of old comfy slippers. You know exactly what you have to do. And it just brings everybody to be comfortable and familiar and gives you the chance to have the best sheet of ice possible for the benefit of your staff or of the public, sorry. That's it from us. I know I did a lot of talking in the last 54 minutes. I do appreciate everyone who's joined, and of the handful of people that have already registered for the Circle checklist, we're excited to have you come on board and start using it. Feel free to fill out the follow-up survey, and if you want access to our website here, feel free to check it out. Do we have any more questions? We're all good. Everything's here, everything that you'll need. If you want to book a demo to learn a little bit more, just chat one-on-one, happy to do so. Thank you for all of our panelists. This has been an awesome session. It's been recorded, and we'll share the recording if you want to pass it along to others. But thank you all for being here.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you very much, my friends. Thank you, Marty.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you. Thank you, Brad.
Take care.
Take care.
Take
You
care.
as well. Oh, we got a few more questions.
Thank you, Zach. Have a good one.
You as well. Thanks, Alex. We'll be in touch. And these are all done.